definitely has to change their playstyle a bit, since what we've seen on Tomb did not really suit them.
Yeah, normally you're expecting the fights to go into the favor of Fnatic by them forcing the issue, and it worked once on the Dahaka, not so much on the second call when they were on the bottom side and we had Shad come in with that big Divine Shield and the team to come around and make sure that they won that team fight. So let's move into Sky Temple and see how Fnatic intends to approach this map. They open with an Abathur ban right away, which is pretty typical in Sky Temple.
I also have to start questioning Fnatic's choice of map a little bit, since they chose Tomb, and before this series started, they had a single loss, and it was on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They had a 50% win ratio on the map before the match, and now they have lost 2 games out of 3 on this battleground, but they chose it twice now. So it seems to be a bit of a weird map to choose if they don't seem to really be that strong anymore. They don't look as convincing as they did in the past on Tomb, so that's definitely something that I'm personally going to keep a bit of an eye on, since I'm not quite sure if I agree with that battleground choice, especially if you're already 1-0. If you pick a strong one and you can get the 2-0 lead, it puts you in a fantastic situation in the driver's seat. So
Could be a situation where they know that they're weaker on the battleground and they're hoping to get more and more experience on it, and if you can beat someone on a map that you have low experience on, maybe it worked out for them.
yeah, but that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you bring them back into the game? Map losses are horrible for the standings, and why give them a chance to, from a psychological view, to go back? They have a 2-0 on Infernal, for example. Go in Infernal, they picked it before. Take a map where you're strong at and play around that. I would like them to adjust it a bit, because so far they picked Tomb twice. Next series, I'm definitely going to see what happens when they have map choice, if they're changing it up. But for now, we are finding ourselves on Sky Temple. So the series is tight, and we have the early Genji ban on the side of Fnatic, since this time the Zealots ban out Greymane.
Yeah, Greymane ban, Genji picked. So Fnatic gonna pull off a Genji. Will we get it from Mene again, or will it be on Quacknix? Of course, we'll see there's some hero overlap when it comes to pull, but mostly it's Quacknix that is doing a lot of the flexing for the team now for Fnatic, as Mene is able to grab the heroes that he wants to really start to excel at. Li Ming comes in though, and that's making me think it's gonna be a Quacknix Genji.
Yeah, at this point we're having aggression from Fnatic. Reset combo. Okay, I can get behind that. The Nubarak taken 2. Hanzo and Uther on the side of their opponents, but already a bit more aggression shown from Fnatic here. They're trying to dive in with the Nubarak as they did on the first map. They have the double resets, Li Ming, Genji, aggressive composition, and that is more so the style that we expected from them in the first place. It's also interesting that we have a fair amount of Genji plays today, because this Korea and North America show a lot more Genji play, but especially in Europe, the hero was basically banned in every single game. So we've only seen throughout this entire year up to this point 4 games played with Genji in Europe, and now today we already have 2. So we're getting more Genji play today than ever before. I personally like it, because as I said, in Europe we haven't seen him play too much. He's always banned. So now we're getting to see if those resets are kicking in. And
we do have a small sample size on Genji. What's his win rate at right now in Europe, if you were to actually look at it?
1 in 4 games.
1 in 4 games. Okay.
So he has a 25% win ratio right now. He lost 3 games. So not including today's games, before we headed into today's matchup. So including today, we saw the victory on Genji on the first map, so that would make it 2 wins and 3 losses.
Well, I know Uther being on your team makes it a little bit easier for you to allow that Genji to sneak on through, and that works out here for Zealots here. With Uther already set up for them, they're going to have that lockdown for him. Arthas and Tyrael not available here, as they will be banned out. Other tanks for Zealots to move into. Muradin can work a little bit hard though against Li Ming and Genji. I would like to see a different tank possibly come in here for the Zealots.
I really like the Tyrael ban from the Zealots, because Fnatic has shown a very similar situation with the dive on Battlefield of Eternity, and I feel that on Sky Temple, Tyrael excels even more so, just simply because you have the sanctification around boss fights. So for the late game boss battles, it's another great tool to have. So I really like that the Zealots learn from the first game and also adapt to the map and immediately say, okay, you already have heavy dive potential with the heroes that you chose, and we're going to make sure that you can't complement that with a sanctification and also a holy ground sanctification around boss battles. And again, Tassadar Hanzo.
Yeah, they're loving this combo here. What is this, the 3rd time in a row Zealots have ran it?
Third game, yeah. They're going full NA here. There's usually a saying in Europe, never go full NA, but Zealots are going to try and prove it wrong today.
Well, today, going full NA does pay, as Tassadar and Hanzo has been working out.
The cringe is real.
Dropping the sick beats If you were beatboxing during that, that would have been PogChamp. Straight up, man. Easy mode.
PogChamp or full cringe. That's a vote that I would like to see on Twitter now.
Let's not do any votes. Let's not do that. You got more weight when it comes to voting on Twitter than I do. That's for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I got way more followers.
Dehaka has been chosen, so we have again the global aspect for them. And on this map in particular, it gets way more value than it even does on Tomb. And on Tomb, it already looked good.
Yeah.
So now Zarmany is starting to switch away from Sonya a bit and heading more and more into Dehaka, which of course is for the map also fantastic. Ah, and we see some Illidan action. All right, Karazim, Illidan, and there is dive potential and mobility all over this draft. This is interesting to say the least. This is cool.
And Josh is excited because Illidan is his last love as of late. He's been one-tricking the Illidan life. And so he's back there cheering, super pumped. Will Illidan pay off here for Fnatic?
These poor allies.
I know, man, I know. He says he's going to one-trick my Eve next, so it'll be even better.
So what?
He's going to one-trick my Eve next. My Ev, sorry, next. So Josh and his one-trick heroes that do a lot of damage and blow things up and yell things. Diablo, the final pickup here for Zealots.
The yell things is a requirement too?
That is a requirement.
Okay, it's good to know.
When you play Genji, he yells about the Dragon Blade, Illidan yells the Hunt. What's my Ev yell about? Does she even yell?
I don't know.
I don't know. Let me know if she yells.
You have to understand that I have a natural dislike of Night Elf heroes. As a former underplayer in Warcraft 3, there was a saying, proud to be undead, and you hated everything that was either Orc or Night Elf, because those were the two races that just kicked our ass all day long.
I know that feel from StarCraft, though. Like Zerg, I cannot stand Terran, I can't stand Protoss. Like,
exactly.
Medevac drops make me physically get mad.
I'm okay with Terran because Terran needs skill, Protoss doesn't. You just do that A move thing, and then you win the game. So Terrans I'm okay with because you need skill. That's why I'm okay with humans.
I'm glad StarCraft is not hosting us today.
Oh,
because
most of them would agree, except for the
67%.
Protoss players. Like, the only people that don't agree are Protoss players. Everybody else is like, yep, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
But in Warcraft it was the same thing. Human players, insane amount of skill. That was always impressive to see a good human. But orcs, ugh.
Orcs have no skill. Isn't Grubby an orc main? Drama alert here for HGC.
Hey, as an undead, ask Hazorps. He knows what I'm talking about. That's exact. That
Josh wants to stop the drama. He's like, let's go. Let's go.
That's big, that was big drama. As an undead, you hated Night Elves and you hated Orcs.
That's fair.
I had to do that. So when I see Maeve coming in, I'm immediately like, ugh.
Oh, I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun. Going into game number 3, it's Sky Temple. Zealots taking off Fnatic, and that Diablo was the final pickup here. Will it pay off for the Zealots?
Yeah, Diablo as a tank is going to be pretty awesome here. Currently played by Mopsio. We have also Hanzo played again by Chris, and of course ADRD on Tassadar, Shat on Uther, and Zarmany on Dehaka.
On the right side, in the red, it is Fnatic. Quatnix playing Genji, Smexy playing Karazim, Mane playing Li Ming, Breeze on a Nubrak, and it's Bad Benny playing Illidan.
And it's not only that we are seeing this combo with Tassadar and Hanzo, we also have Uther in every single one of these games for them. Basically, what the Zealots are doing throughout this entire series so far is they're playing the exact same draft with small adjustments depending on the map and depending on what Fnatic bans out. In every single one of these games, we are seeing them with Hanzo, we are seeing them with Uther, and we're having them with Tassadar. Those are the 3 core heroes. And then when it comes to the solo lane, they played Dehaka twice now, and one time they played Sonya. So they always have a strong solo laner. Lately, they focus more on the global, but the core of the draft is the same that Fnatic is playing against here. So this is the 3rd time that we're going to see this idea being put to the test, and it's going to be pretty cool to see how Fnatic reacts to it, especially with Diablo being a bit of a game changer here on the last pick.
Yeah, let's say Zealots win this map, and we go to game number 4. If you want to adjust to their draft, do you ban out Uther? Is that the way to break the core of this?
I would ban or pick Uther, yeah.
Yeah.
I would try around Uther first, and I don't think that you have to go into a Tassadar ban necessarily.
Yeah.
But Uther seems to be pretty strong with it overall. I mean, the core aspect of the combo is, of course, that Tassadar and Hanzo aspect. So you can either try and target Hanzo instead, but if you want, you can either home in on Hanzo and try and ban him out. Fnatic, as we said before, hasn't even played Hanzo yet, so they are not really big on him at this point. But I would, if they lose this one and they want to adapt to it, I would either focus on a Hanzo ban, or I would try and get Uther into my own composition and complement a Grey main that they really prefer to play with him, or another hero. If you can get Uther Genji, that would of course be the dream, but at this point, this was one of the strategies in the draft for the Zealots, that they were willing to give Genji up, but they would get Uther in return.
Oh, hang on. ADRD might be in trouble. Quintus going in and missing out on the damage. Okay, so in terms of control, as we get done talking about our drafts and our theories here, the Giants and Night Camps have been the focus for Fnatic with a little bit of pressure on the Tassadar. They have gotten the Giants to push on the bottom side. Now, one has been cleared up for Fnatic. The two of the Zealots have been deleted already, so Fnatic is mounting a massive push on the top side, while Illidan and Dahaka go at it with the Knights in the top.
The topside push is actually pretty cool on the side of the Zealots. I like it way more from the Zealots than I do from Fnatic. They just slightly mistime it. Once again, the idea here was to cap your own Night Camp, just so that Fnatic's camp is in tower range, and they screwed it up slightly, because as you can see, both towers are not firing. And the basic idea is if you get the camp second, you want to time it so that it's in tower range, that you have an easy time clearing it. And unfortunately for the Zealots, they were trying to do that, they were trying to prep it, but they took it a second or two too early, and that's why it's still a standoff that we have on the lane, and the towers are not contributing at all.
Zarni did mitigate that, though, by moving forward and using his drag on the wizard on the backside and pull that in. So he made it a bit easier for them, but you can tell that that was definitely a slight issue for them. Bad Bunny taking some damage. Drag not up quite yet for Zarni, and is unable to land the hook on Bad Bunny.
It was actually impressive that Illidan got out of this one. I thought he was dead for sure.
Yeah.
So good escape there. And of course, a nice friend of foe usage here as well. In the meantime, Mopsio finds himself in a battle locked in with Breeze, Smexy, and Quackney's down at the bottom. Zarmany even committing to it. And he is really low. He needs to be careful here. Zealots are just waiting for a full 5-on-5 fight, but it seems as if Fnatic is very hesitant to give it to them since they split Illidan up to the top lane. And talking about Illidan for a second, Illidan has seen only one game so far in HGC Europe, and then that was when he was played by Diamond Skin, by Darkmork, and they lost that game. So this is the second Illidan game that we see in Phase 1 of HGC U.
And they had a couple of moments where they actually did some pretty well in the team fights. The Hunt coming in there, landing a target, just didn't get the full win overall. We'll see if Bad Bunny can prove to be a better Illidan on this day, as they control the top temple, and Fnatic gives up the middle shots to the Zealots. So all tied up here as 7 hits for the Zealots, but the walls opened up on the top side, which will be a bit of an issue if Illidan's able to get a kill on the Dahaka and push in.
Yeah, and also since we're talking about stats a bit, just to give you another idea, Karazim has only been played 3 times in Europe. This is the 4th time that we see him. And the only team that was able to win with Karazim so far has been Fnatic. They've been able to win with him once, they played him 1 time and they won the game. And outside of that, we saw Method and Diamond Skin use Karazim, but both of them were not successful. And now they're using the hero to jump in and out up at the top as they make a quick dive for the fort, put good damage onto the structure. And as we all know, structural damage is king on this map.
Breeze gets engaged on by Mopsio, doesn't get the bang against the wall. So Breeze is able to escape just by scuttling away, while Genji soaks on the bottom side. And Zealots actually pay pretty hard for this, as they have a few people on the top. Now, they do have Dahaka, who should be able to rotate between lanes if need be, but the experience should gap a little bit here, as Fnatic is able to push his bottom lane.
Especially if Quacknesis or someone else is able to slow down the rotation a bit. Doesn't really look for it right now, but yeah, a bit of experience is going to be lost here. Nothing too crazy. But what I find even more impressive is the pressure that Fnatic could put up on the structure. I talked about it, I touched upon the subject a bit earlier, but this map is really all about the objective. So on this map, it's the boss and the objectives that really reign supreme. And since the objective attacks structures directly, if you can put pressure on those structures without using the temple shots, then you find yourself always in a much, much better position once that you grab objectives. So Fnatic putting pressure onto the top lane and taking the fort nearly halfway down, that is big, or can be big later on. And if they continue that and have these small pokes against forts, against towers, that can really help them to snowball this and take a bit of a bigger lead. Because already they are looking at a half-level advantage that could give them the early level 10 as the second temple activates in another 15.
For me, I'm interested how the Illidan Dahaka matchup's going to go. Typically, if you're able to dodge on that drag, Illidan can start to body that lane pretty aggressively. And he'll be able to get control too when he's at level 10 and gets the Hunt, being able to come to a fight at any point. Pseudo-global, not full global. You need to be a little bit closer than the Dahaka due to him being able to jump in bushes. But the Hunt matchup, it becomes a great trade-off for the Illidan.
Yeah, perfect timing here, by the way, on the 10. Couldn't get any better for Fnatic. At this point, they get the free shots at the beginning. They can then, of course, once that the Zealots get their 10, they have to be careful if they give the temple up, if Zealots even want to fight over it. So there's already a bit of poke happening, but that's a half-shot advantage that they already have without even having to fight for it at all.
ADRD was a target, is able to dimensional shift out. Mopsio steps forward, wanting to force a fight. Dahaka is not showing on the map, meaning that Fnatic has to back up. Here he comes, right across. There's the APOC, is going to be straight on top of Genji. Genji locked down. He finally drops down the protection and gets away.
Gets isolated as well, but that combo was actually beautiful. Hanzo arrow into Apocalypse attempt, and it nearly worked. It was such a close call. It hit only one target in this case, and then the isolation came in too, so a massive amount of resources used. But that was scary. If that properly hits, then they are losing 3 hero in that encounter.
Can't believe Quack it down there. The wave of force, pivotal there from Li Ming, making sure to keep him alive while the duration of the sounds on the isolation goes away.
And can I just say how Chris is going completely beast mode today? His arrows are hitting hard, and he got a triple arrow on Tomb of the Spider Queen that won them the game, and that was another triple that he just hit, and they are looking strong. He really waits for the perfect opportunity to get his ult off, and a lot of them connect just impeccably well. Right now, Illidan on the camp, but down here, Dehaka picked off. Good aggression from Fnatic, and in the meantime, they're even working on the camp to the top. So far, the Zealots haven't really sniffed it out and are unwilling to invade.
Is this a boss call?
Yeah.
Yeah, they jump on the boss. As we have Breeze, Mexi, Mana, and Quacknix down here. Illidan can hunt in if need be. Should have someone from Zealots come over here and scout that. ADRD will do so on Tassadar. It's too late now. You might as well just push and get the fort.
Yeah, it's just a question of how much can you get at the top lane. The boss, you're going to lose out on it, but how much can you get at the top? Because they are going straight for a fort here. And that's a pretty cool move by the Zealots as well. They realize at some point, well, they're going for boss here. Our cooldowns are already out or low, but we can get some damage up at the top. And that's where we're now seeing Fnatic headed. They're hoping that they can maybe catch someone here. Ideally, of course, someone that has no mobility, Uther, Mopsio, those would be the targets. But Zealots move back in time, and now they themselves are the ones that have to react to the pressure at the bot lane and try and defend.
And Dahaka, with the aid of Tassadar from ADRD, will be able to clear that up. Want to make sure you don't take too much damage on that keep. I feel like against Fnatic, it should be a #1 priority not to allow for any backdoor shenanigans to happen at this point.
After the last few days, I am with you there.
Yeah, sacrifice all your lives. As long as you have a keep standing, you cannot lose. So there you go. Fnatic is on the bottom side working on the Giants. There are 2 temples up. And the macro from Fnatic's actually looking great. They have top lane pushing in. They have their teammates in the middle controlling the temple there. Illidan should be able to work on the bottom side while the Giants are pushing over. And they have a talent advantage, 13 to 12 3/4, so they'll get the first couple of shots.
Yeah, this makes it very awkward right now for the Zealots. And we talk about the structural advantage again, and this is where Fnatic has definitely taken a solid lead. They already eliminated 2 forts, and these 2 temples will easily destroy the 3rd and start working on that bot wall as well. So this is actually looking really good for Fnatic here. The 13 talent is finally there. Dehaka again being attacked down here, and he might just barely get away. There's the stun again into APOC. Great combo. Illidan is down. I am loving how Zealots are playing this. Great kill attempt by Fnatic. They don't get it. They lose 1 hero, but they still get a fair amount of shots here on the objective itself.
Yeah, middle shot here. Diablo should be able to grab those last couple of shots. And once you are activating a temple with 2 shots remaining, you will get all 6 of them. So something for you to know at home as Diablo moves in, grabs the last 2, and gets away. And he can actually disengage from the fight as he knows those final shots will go in favor of the Zealots. And now they get the bottom temple. Big turnaround then.
But I love this combo. It's so good. When that arrow hits, it is perfect. And the timing this time couldn't have been any better. It's still a fact, though, that the Zealots are far behind. It doesn't really look like it when you look at the experience, but if you look at the structures on the map, then you can definitely see a massive difference. Not a single fort left for the Zealots. Already the walls are being damaged at the keep. And at this point, Zealots need to push in structures or win the objectives, or they're going to have a rough time later on. And Fnatic is working on 16. So for the Zealots, it's important to also reach level 16 talents by the time that the next objective comes online.
Lucky for them, they have 2 places to get experience. The middle 4 and the top 4 are low and pretty easy to pick off if they're able to get into a position to move forward. So Zarmi's going to start on the top side, and look how Diablo is now starting to shark around, making sure that Fnatic isn't sneaking in to the Dahaka to pick him off, being in spots where he can help out.
At this point, Fnatic's call has to say, guys, we know now what they're trying to do. Arrow into APOC. Make sure that you A, don't cluster, and B, if you see it coming, dodge that thing. Once you dodge, if the combo doesn't work out, Zealots are in trouble. If they pull off the combo, they can just wipe you.
There's going to be 2 temples up on the next phase. And Fnatic, in the position they are in, should be okay with being able to trade out 1-for-1. Illidan on the bottom needs to be a little bit careful. Here's ADRD. He's going to pop the Archon because he wants to get the dimensional shift early. That is unfortunate, losing that big heroic.
Yeah, and they also have to watch out. Still, the entire time, whenever Fnatic engages like this, they have to wait and see what Hanzo does. Because if that arrow keeps flying, if you converge on a single target, you try to blow it up, you stack naturally. And that is the moment when Hanzo wants to hit his ult.
Yep.
And then Diablo follows it up. So even if you see a target on the map and you go for it, you have to watch Hanzo. You have to make sure that that thing does not come flying and hits 3 people again. If they can be the ones initiating with the tools they have, Fnatic can take it, but Zealots are playing fantastic. Here comes the hunt on Diablo of all people, and APOC being used again. They're trying to go for the camp. Diablo moves in, slams him over. Cocoon comes in, and Breeze is down. Breeze dead, and that was even without 16 talents here.
Wow. Zealots turn that around. The invade from Fnatic, and now 2 temples are activated, and there's 2 forts that are free pickings for experience. Zealots can jump in a lead here.
I am not 100% certain why you would go for Diablo of all people.
He's got muscles.
That's why I wouldn't go for him. No, I'm really trying to wrap my head around this at this point, because they have a lot of stuns that they can stack, and they have really a lot of damage potential here. But I don't feel that even with them using a 7-sided, you can just simply blow him up with this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I expected them to be way more aggressive against Hanzo with Illidan and trying to jump on him or one of the squishies and make that play. But now we're having a race for keeps, and with Illidan holding the bot temple, that's an easy win for Fnatic here.
Dahaka is trying to sit here for defense, wants to make sure nothing can come towards his core. We'll be able to soak and join the team if need be. Zealots on their side are trying to do their best to push in the keep on the top side. Should be able to commit a little bit more here, but with Fnatic disappearing from the bottom keep that they just picked off, they have to play a little safe. Should get that with all those minions floating around. Breeze won't be able to defend that as much as he would like, and there's still a temple for the grabs.
Breeze is... Oh, the Haka coming in. They're actually trying to cut them off here. And this is a moment isolation hits, but there's not enough follow-up, is there?
The drag.
Doesn't look like it over Diablo. Maybe 7-sided. Can he jump out? Is there anyone to dash to? No. And still Cocoon being used. Illidan was at the top. That must just have overlapped. He was at the bottom temple. It seems like he was already on the way to Hearthstone back to base. I expected him to hunt into the fight, so I was a bit surprised when Fnatic backed off without a fight at all. But apparently, Illidan was already in the process of Hearthstoning back to base when that engage happened. So he was all of a sudden out of range and couldn't engage into it. That explains why Fnatic started to suddenly move away. So that was pretty unlucky for Fnatic here, but great play and good opportunity for Zealots. And they make the perfect call this time, going straight for the boss and starting to pressure Fnatic.
I'm getting nervous. Does it keep going on the bottom left? Fnatic is grouping up in the middle. They have an Illidan. They're threatening the idea of going on the backside. Zealots are Hearthstoning back this time.
Immediately.
Immediately Hearthstoning, as they have to.
Yeah, so they're pushing through the bot here. And already Shad is starting TPs as well. They can still cancel. They're seeing that at least Karazim is here. But they are playing around Vision, and Diablo moved back. Okay, so Fnatic needs to make sure that they can get out of this. Now, these core calls are pretty cool, but the one thing you have to keep in mind is that you need to make sure that you can get out. There's the arrow.
Onto a new
doesn't hit. They go on
Cocoon.
Cocoon, Dahaka. Okay, so they trade cooldowns. So this is actually the important part. By now, Zealots know that Fnatic is always willing to threaten core. And threatening core is a great tool to either force your opponent back or maybe even decide the game in your favor. But you are playing a risky game, because if your opponent can catch you on the way back, you will always be outnumbered. And that's what the Zealots were currently hoping for. They burrowed with the Haka into the retreat path and tried to get the isolation and lick, but Cocoon was in, and then they used the combo. The combo is down. If they can save their targets here, Fnatic has ults. Zealots don't.
Divine Shield and Dimensional Shift are used on ADRD. Pops the Archon. Mene is low. Mene does get picked off from the splash damage. Chris keeps chasing there, and it's one pick-off. Zealots 19.5 to 19, and they have a Arrested Temple to grab on top.
Yeah, and again, that was with ults available for Fnatic, and Zealots did not have Apocalypse. They didn't have the arrow on Hanzo. So Fnatic gets really weird and bad fights. They're not coordinated in these fights. The macro calls on the map are great when they threaten core, when they force the opponent back, when it allows them to defend. That's really well done by them. But in the fights itself, that synergy that we're used to see from them is just not there. And the Zealots are exploiting that advantage they have now. 20 against 19, the Storm Talents are ready, and they are taking not only the keeps, they want to go for core here.
Diablo's gonna push Bad Benny into the wall here. He gets chunked on his health bar. The cleanse comes out. Smexy gonna keep him alive for now. Uther gets punched here on the side. Breeze, Quacknix, and Smexy, Bad Benny all set up for defense. Li Ming will be up in 2 seconds.
Li Ming is finally there, but they are going for the core. That might be Zealots overstaying their welcome, to be honest. Here comes the Cocoon, and going in the back. Hanzo, finally the target, and this time he dies instantly, gets blown up. They have the Cocoon, Smexy's isolated, but he can jump in now. He has the 7-sided and can use that too. Uses it, needs to jump out though. He's pretty low. Breeze helps him out with a quick stun as Illidan is already in the back and going for AD. We're seeing Mopsio with his combo, trying to go for Smexy. Smexy alive, but he falls eventually. Diablo also dying, but he has the souls. He's going to come back. Uther dies, he has redemption. They're going to go in for the double kill. Zarmani already getting eliminated here as he's about to fall. Tries to burrow out. Nice move. Dodging him, and once again, Shad being the target here as Uther just respawned.
Way before stopping Dahaka from getting back. Shad, the next one here. Man's been popping off in this fight. He cleared up catapults and helped secure the kills, and now Fnatic gets 3 takedowns. Uther about to fall as well. Archon being popped on the back left for ADRD. He will have 1-dimensional shift, so he can't get away from the fight. There he goes. Mopsio shows up with the Diablo to put him against the wall, trying to keep him alive, but Bad Benny comes in with the chase, and Fnatic defends their core.
Quacknix gets the kill and doesn't die. He has like 1 hit point left, doesn't die. The core is open. Fnatic, what's the play here? Do they go for the structures? They should at least try and get the keep. They're moving back for now. They were rather low, especially Illidan, but the question is what are they going to get next? Boss is not up for another minute. There's only 1 temple. I think they should have tried to get the keep in the mid lane at least.
It's really hard without your support being around there. The keep, yes, would have been helpful. Definitely not a core call without the support. There is a boss up in a minute, so possibly the idea is, okay, we'll grab the temple. That'll give us keep in the middle.
Yeah.
Get catapult pressure to equalize. We can get mercenary camps in the top right. That will push in the top side and stop those catapults, so we can do one last big fight around this boss or go for a core rush.
The temple is actually going to give them both keeps.
Wow. This has become a very close
Good call here. Good call not going for the mid keep. I take it back. I thought there were still towers up at the top that could soak shots. So I did not realize when I said that the temple alone would give them both keeps. I thought with towers still up at the top lane, they would only get 1 if they don't take the keep in the middle manually. But the towers were gone at the top lane. And so at this point, they get both of the keeps. So we have 1 keep on the map, and that's a keep for Fnatic at the bot lane. Insane game right now. 5 kills against 7, back and forth, level 21 at this point. But did you see in the last fight, the call was made on Hanzo, Cocoon on Uther, and it's an insta-kill.
Yeah.
He's immediately dead. You go in with a hunt and you have the stuns ready, and then you just go for him, and he is down. And that's what I need to see from Fnatic more. That's what this composition is going to do. Not jumping on Diablo as the guy who has the most hit points and use your cooldowns on him. Try to blow the damage dealer up in the backline. Here comes the drag again. They're trying to go for the fight. Zarmani hits the isolation, but I don't think that's enough. He needs more than that. Here comes the combo, and Breeze might fall here. He should fall, and he does fall.
Bad Benny is in the backside. He's floating around, trying to look for a fight. And Nubrak is the only one that has fallen, but Mene may be the second one here. Mopsio goes in for the read on the teleporter round. Illidan and Genji are moving towards the core, forcing Zealots to pull away.
They're trying to buy time. They want to make sure that the Zealots can't core. And the Zealots will go for the boss now. Fnatic is so good at playing the big macro game with core threats and trying to push the opponent into a certain direction. They're fantastic with it. But their synergy in the team fight is really lacking at this point. They're really struggling with this, but they're doing it again. They know that Zealots will try and go for it, so they make the counterplay. And they have a couple of fantastic heroes for that move. Zealots are still going for it. They have Diablo to defend, and at this point, they might be able to pull it off. Fnatic scores at 87%. Zealots could very well take the lead here. This is a massive race that we are seeing coming in right now. And maybe a Nubarak with Cocoon, if he comes back in time, can change it in favor of them. Diablo goes down. This is the moment.
65-40.
Cocoon. Get the Cocoon in. Try and get the Cocoon in. It's so close, Diablo. Where's the Cocoon? The Cocoon fight.
It comes out. He gets interruption. 4, 1.
It's over. The Zealots take it with 2% on the core. The Zealots win the game. What a race.
Zealots by 2%.
If not for the earlier pressure against the core, that wouldn't have even been close.
Yeah, wouldn't have even been close. Incredible. Absolutely a